I just want to get a definition on what a nice guy is, and it's somebody who cannot directly handle someone else because of fear, and because of that fear, then they do things indirectly or in a soft manner. It makes them untrustworthy because people who are fearful lie, and nice guys are typically not respected because subconsciously they're viewed as liars. Now, outwardly, a nice guy is just somebody who gets like trampled over and mowed over on calls, or like if you have a difficult, mean prospect, he becomes pandering and order taking. And I'm not gonna lie, like if I'm talking to a pretty high quality prospect, I'll take whatever orders I want because to be able to control other people, you have to be willing to be controlled. So I'm willing to let people ask me the questions. Yeah, that's a new concept. Um, you can only do something to others to the degree that you're willing to have it happen to you. So if you aren't willing to take responsibility for things in your own life, you'll have a hard time getting people to take responsibility for things in their own lives, right? And if you aren't willing to be controlled, right? Controlled means start, stop. Hold on. Control is actually I got to look at the definition. I forgot, but it's basically you deciding when something starts and stops. You decide whenever someone starts to do something and someone stops to do something. Um, let's see. Let me get the exact definition because that's actually the definition of change. That's not the definition of control. Um, I believe. Talking out of my ass right now until I get the definition. But and the majority of the time, when people are being a nice guy, what happens is the prospect loses respect for them, and the effort of being a nice guy was in an effort to not be harmed. So that's the thing. It's like you don't want to get yelled at, you don't want to lose a deal, you don't want to have someone think that you're mean or bad. So you will lessen the effectiveness and basically the force of your communication to where there's almost nothing there, and it's like a feather in the wind, and you're not able to like your communication should have a level of intention behind it, and your intention decreases to the degree that you're being a nice guy, and the intention is just what gets the communication from point A to point B. So when I'm trying to get a point over to you, Ibrahim, number one, even though I'm looking over here, I can see out of my periphery, I can see all of your head nods and what you're agreeing and disagreeing with. And when you disagree with something, I'm going to get my point across to you, but I have to explain it in a way that you agree with because it has to match your reality. And then I have to send it to you with the intention behind the communication to ensure that my communication reaches you, the being, not your body, but you, the being, the one who controls the body. And whenever the communication gets there, my intention is that you also understand it. So not only do I intend for you to receive it, but I intend for you to understand it. Right. So there's all these different parts of communication that go beyond just words, tonality, and body language, because those are completely useless. What matters is intention. Are you intending to close someone? If not, then you can tell by if you didn't close them, right? And if your intention is to get in your head and have that be your excuse for not growing balls, people will actually get in their head more in an effort to not confront the thing that they're scared of. So then people will feel bad for them and they'll keep receiving help when all they had to do was just grow some balls and do the thing. So they'll actually get worse on purpose because it gets sympathy from other people. Let me pull up this definition. So control. Let's see. Oh, N comes after N, or N comes after M, in the alphabet. If you're wondering, that's why I couldn't find it. Let me see. Let's see.
Can you? I just had a question. Are we going to get
Yeah.
the recording? If not, can you repeat what you just said about people complicating things in their own head because they can't grow a pair of balls? That was really
Uh,
interesting.
yeah. So if you have something that you're not confronting,
Mhm.
and you can't confront it, you will actually pull in more mental stuff on purpose. So you can basically act like a victim to the situation instead of handling it. And then other people view you as that victim and then give you help out of sympathy. So I've had this with people in my program. I've met plenty of people who have done this, where they will keep problems. And this is where physical illness comes from. Prolonged physical illness. They're either completely out ethics. Well, they have to be, because there's something that they're not confronting and handling in their life. Right. So some part of their life is deteriorating, and then their body deteriorates. Right. And then guess what? The person with the deteriorated body gets sympathy from other people and then gets endless help.
Yep.
Because they couldn't confront the thing. Say that again?
Yeah, it feeds on itself. Like, it's a cycle.
Yeah. So, but it's something that the being does. It's not something that the mind does. That's like the being is becoming a victim for the purpose of getting help. Because as long as you keep being the victim, you keep receiving help. So from their point of view, it's pro-survival to be a victim. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. What's the difference between the being and the mind?
Well, you have a mind. Your mind has thoughts. Technically, you as a being can create thoughts, but I guarantee almost any thought you've ever had is something that your mind served up and you listened to. It wasn't something that you produced on purpose. So your mind is just a collection of mental image pictures. It's basically a collection of recordings from your past. And then you, the being, you're the source of things. And you're the one who's looking at those pictures. So if you're the one looking at those pictures in your mind, how could you be your mind? Yeah, just like you can observe your body. Well, you're the one observing that you have a body. You aren't the body. You wouldn't say, I am elbow. I am forehead. I am brain. You aren't a brain. You have a brain. You own a brain. So then who's the one owning the brain? You, the being. Right? The brain's just a piece of meat. So when people are doing stuff with the brain, they're not really working on the being. They're not doing anything to improve the being. It has nothing to do with the brain. Working on the being is you. You're the being. When you die, or when your body dies, you don't die with the body. You don't, like, that energy, that source of energy that fueled the body, you're the source of energy that fuels the body. You go somewhere else. You pick up another body. Or, some people believe you go to heaven. It just depends on your viewpoint on it. But you certainly don't just disappear from existence. But you've heard it many ways, which is that you create your own universe. It's literal, meaning you, the being, are the source of matter, energy, space, and time. You create matter, energy, space, and time. You are not made out of it. A being is not made out of energy. A being produces energy. So that's why you being in control of your energy and your state is entirely that's entirely your responsibility and in your control. It's not some other thing. It's not your mind doing it. You can take control away from your mind and take it yourself and decide to have a better state. You don't have to have the mind telling you what to do. So if we really take a look at it, a real nice guy does whatever the mind tells him to do. And that's what schizophrenia is. And most people are walking around listening to what their mind tells them to do. And that's why they have roller coasters in life and problems and issues. Because they're listening to this thing, which isn't them, which is illogical, which has a bunch of emotions and thoughts and feelings from the past that have nothing to do with right now, and limiting beliefs and fixed ideas and all that kind of crap. And that's what's talking to you all day. And you use that as your advisor, as though that was you. You're using your mental crap as your advisor. So the biggest kind of nice guy is somebody who lets their mind tell them what to do instead of you telling the mind what to do, which is to shut up. And Taylor knows this because she's been a client of mine for like 8 months, or not 8 months, like 6 months or so. And she just had her second record month in a row. First record month? I thought last month was a record month too.
Every month has been the record. Every month has been the record month.
Oh, Okay, cool. That sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
So it just keeps going. But and that's what I work on with Taylor. Is the if her stuff comes in, it's not her. And I look like a real big bully sometimes because of that. Right? But the thing is if you're actually holding the being accountable, it's not going to look nice. It doesn't always. It's full of love, but boy, it's not always nice. Because that's not what needs to happen. So I'm going to give you the definition of control. I was right on the definition. It's the willingness to start, stop, and change. So if you're willing to start someone doing something or thinking something or being something, or you're willing to stop someone doing something, being something, or thinking something, or you're willing to change someone else doing something, thinking something, or being something, then that's control. And if you aren't willing to be controlled, then you will resist controlling others. Because how can you give it if you can't take it? It's kind of like when people make fun of others all day, but they get offended when people make fun of them. Like, how can you give it without taking it, right? So that's pretty much it. And a nice guy is really just somebody who's able to control others and is willing to be controlled by them. Somebody who's not a nice guy, rather. Somebody who's confident and certain and able, right? They're in control, right? But like if I get a guy coming on a call, and you have to understand when to take control and when to give away control. Like when you get on a sales call, there are certain people who certainly will buy if you stop trying to control the call. Like I've had a guy come on, in the first 5 minutes, he asked me what the price was. I told him. And then 30 minutes later, he closed. I did the entire call backwards. I did price, then I don't even think I pitched. Then I went through his finances. Then I did his discovery to make sure it was okay to sell him. And then I closed him. So you can do a sales call in any order you want as long as you have a really good connection with somebody. And that guy, he's starting to improve. He's brand new in business, so we've had a few extra steps to take with him.
How do you build the connection if they're already demanding price within the first 2 minutes of the call?
Oh, he was a referral, and I had been talking to him for like a week.
Okay.
I
was going to say, because I don't see that working at all for
I only book sales calls with people who are ready to buy. So that's the difference. Is my setting process creates people who are ready to buy, and then by the time they get to the call, all I got to do is handle logistics and then fear. That's really it, which are pretty easy. But we'll go into that stuff. So that's my intro. Since Ibrahim wanted a pre-planned training, I just made it up. How was that? How'd I do? Okay, cool. And I don't have that written somewhere else. Like I just that's it. Those are the facts. So do you have any disagreements or protests against those facts? Or confusions or misunderstandings? Sweet. So if we're all on the same page, we can dig in. Now, Ibrahim, I want to ask you, because before you were like, I don't have so much of a people-pleasing problem or like a Mr. Nice Guy problem or all that kind of stuff. Again, people-pleasing is you're letting other people totally control you out of fear that they won't like you, that they won't buy from you, that they won't trust you, right? So you immediately change your viewpoint based on what you think other people want, basically. That's what people-pleasing is. That's what being a nice guy is. So do you do any of that at all currently in present time? And you could also apply it with friends, with coaches, with parents, with anybody.
Me changing my behavior so that other people accept me or my viewpoints.
Yeah, like for example, in college I did this. I've used this example 3 times in the last 24 hours. I wanted to get girls in college, and all the girls were liberal from my viewpoint, right? That's what I thought they all were. And to seem like a not mean guy and to seem like a nice, totally innocent, you should come love me and do me kind of guy. I changed my viewpoint from whatever I believe to whatever they believe. So I became liberal. Yeah, I know, right? It's pretty gross. That's what it's like to be a nice guy. Yeah. So that would be an example of changing your viewpoint. So you stop being, I don't know, conservative, or you stop being logical, or whatever it is, and then you change your viewpoint. Now, there's a slight caveat, being that if I'm talking to an emotional buyer, somebody whose entire viewpoint of the world is emotional, which they're a little bit harder to have as a client, but they're manageable if they're good at their job, then I'll talk in terms of feelings the whole call, and I won't talk in terms of as many facts, right? But I usually don't attract those people often. But that's an example of changing your perspective to match what you think other people want.
Like, I don't remember anything like this on top of my head. There
Say
was
that again.
one thing, though, I don't know if this, you tell me if this is a nice guy behavior or not. My tone changes the pitch.
Mhm.
Like I would like my pitch goes down, or it becomes like sharper
Mhm.
when I'm talking to people sometimes, and I don't like that.
What's wrong
So
with that?
it feels like you're being a bitch.
Like
That
what?
it's just
Like you have a high
yeah,
pitched.
that's how. Not like it's not that like
Yeah.
sharp, but it, it goes down. My pitch goes down. It didn't go. I don't know. Like you get my point, right?
I'm gonna try and get your point. I'm gonna get there. So no, I don't fucking get your point yet, but
Oh,
I'm gonna get it.
normally, if I'm talking like this, for example, my tone is
Uh huh.
deep. Every now and then,
Yeah.
if I'm talking to someone, yeah, like you get it, bro. Every
Oh
now and then,
yeah.
go down, and I'm gonna sound more feminine.
Hmm.
And I've noticed it's in situations where I feel threatened in a way.
Hmm.
It's
So you
just
become
like
a girl? Is that what you?
yeah,
Is
like
that
I bitch out. That's
is feminine fearful and then masculine's like confident? Is that what
yeah.
you think that means? Okay, got it. So that's a total misunderstanding.
Mm,
Feminine just refers to it's a description of responsibilities and roles between a man and a woman. Feminine, this is a huge misunderstanding that's been pumped into the world, is that feminine is weakness.
mm,
It's just different. It's just something that's more girly. Like if a girl does makeup, that's more feminine. So if a man started doing makeup, that'd be kind of feminine. And you know what we call him? We call him gay, right?
right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that wearing makeup, or like being feminine or girly,
Mm,
is somehow weak. And people have mixed. Yeah, for a man, probably acting too feminine might be weak, but they're two different things. Feminine is just a description of like a beingness, like who you're being, like you're being feminine. Like
mm,
that's why I guess most guys get kind of uncomfortable talking to effeminate guys, because it's like it's you're like something's off here, right? Like you're a guy but you're acting like a girl, right? But being weak on a call doesn't mean that you're acting like a girl, because there's lots of women who do lots of great things and they're still feminine and they're still strong and capable and able to do things, right? So I just want to clarify that, because um, it I don't know, it's a misunderstanding that's been pumped into the world. Like there's nothing wrong with being the people also then associate fun, play, being light and happy and flowy and goofy as feminine and weak. So then you can't be playful and light and fun on sales calls, and then you're all strict and serious and masculine, because that's what you think that means. Like being fun and playful is your natural state as a being. If you're not being playful, you're not being yourself. Like it's one of the highest states you can be in is just pure play. Everything's just a game. You're like light and giggly and having fun, but then the big tough guy says, "Oh, that's gay. You can't do." No, what's gay is like not hitting your numbers or like stuff like that. Like, but having fun on calls most certainly is not any form of weakness, and it's not feminine. But I will tell you, women make more money in sales than men because they're more fun and playful and out of their heads and cheerful in general. I know because I went to one of the she sells groups and I had a fucking blast. like hanging out with them made me raise my estate. Like it was just like it's super fun and playful and everybody's joking around and it's like light and easy. And then you go to like a sales dude group and it's like all serious. But then you look at the stats and women, I believe it's either close more or make 20% more than men. It's either close 20% more or make 20% more. So their stats are way higher. So there's got to be something that women are doing that's working, and it has nothing to do with being feminine. It literally has to do with just their energy and presence on calls. And people mix up being fun and playful with being a nice guy, right? Because being a nice guy is like a pushover. You can still tell jokes, have a great time, and get shit done. And that's neither masculine nor feminine. Because like if we really look at it, feminine just has to like as it's applied in this situation, it's just like feminine would be like stay at home wife who wants to like have kids and like be nurturing, and then masculine is like the guy who goes out and like kills tigers and fucking brings home money and like does hard shit all day, and then the feminine is like the light and playful energy that gets him to be more relaxed, which if he was just being that way in the first place he wouldn't like uh like I wasn't I was he wouldn't need a girlfriend in the first place. No, he still needs that, but it's just it'd probably be even better in the relationship. Like so I just want to clear that up because being a nice guy doesn't mean you're feminine. Being a nice guy, it means you're fearful, and fearful isn't necessarily feminine. I'd sure hope that you're not dating a woman who's constantly in fear, and then
No.
you think that that's feminine, right? Because that's not a. I don't know if that's a turn on for you, but it's not what I look for in women. Like I just go around, who can I find that's the scaredest today to ask on a date, right? Um, so, does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, cool. Now, are we abundantly clear on what the fuck a nice guy is?
Yes.
Also, keep in mind, nice guy is also like, you tiptoe in a way to where you don't ask questions that could lead to objections earlier in the call. Like you're not willing to push the envelope at any moment in the call. So the reason why I asked get them to say that they want to make a change today and take action now is because when you get them to that point where they're about to say yes or no to taking action today, then they will start giving you objections. And if you're not getting more people to that point, it tells me that you might just not be actually you're basically being a customer service representative. You're not actually trying to close a deal. I watched a video. He's a more old fashioned sales guy from what I could see, but I think he talks to realtors, and he's like, if somebody's not ready to make a buying decision within the next 3 days, fuck them. Was basically the whole concept of the video, because and obviously people who are going to get money, we can assume until further notice they've made the buying decision on the call, but they have to go get the money. That's different than someone like needing to think about it and like not making the buying decision right now. So by Mrs. Nice Gal, we can also include not adding things which feel uncomfortable to you or feel like pressure in a call, because pressure in the call is actually what gets you to find objections ahead of time and pre-handle them before you pitch. So
I can give you an example of how it affected me even today. I had one call with a guy, and he had gone through 10 or 11. I was his 12th sales call. When I asked him, what what is he looking for in particular that he hasn't found, or what was the reason he said no before or didn't move forward. And he was like, anyone who is trying so hard to sell me with a pressure tactic or with a time sensitive thing and wanted me to make a decision on the call, I vetoed them right away. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I can't do that because then I'm going to be put in the same bucket as them. And so when it came to actually handling that properly, I was afraid of what he thought of me and afraid of being put into the sales jumble instead of actually pushing for a close and advising him based on everything we talked about. And like I got off the call and I thought of 10 ways that I could have possibly handled it, but in the instance, I was afraid to press it because I was afraid of him losing the deal or not liking me. So
I got it. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool. I haven't had. That's a very specific problem. So it's not. I worded it this way. Let me know how this hits you. Not knowing how to handle when people try to disarm me by making it wrong to sell them.
yeah.
So people, that's an exact perfect way to manipulate people. Is you make it wrong for them to do their job.
And I've had it a few times. Last week, I had someone literally be like, "Stop selling me. You're done." And I was like, and so I just went into a follow up and he went somewhere else.
Anything you want to add, Ibrahim?
Thing as of now, and it's really interesting. You know, prospects manipulate as well. This whole notion that salespeople are manipulative, it's a little weird because prospects are trying to manipulate you on the call.
Yeah, sell or be sold, man. It's one of the best concepts in sales. Whoever has the most certainty in themselves and what they're doing, so that if you don't have certainty in your process, like the way you handle that guy is you don't spend the call doing anything else other than handling those two things. That's it. And then if you can't handle them, then you have to get really clear buying criteria, and then you can try and find an end with, well, is there a situation ever where you'd ever pull the trigger on the first call? Like it could be made up. Like you could, like a fairy tale land. Like what would have to happen to where you're like, let me pull the trigger first call, and then that's you're in. And if they give any kind of answer to that, that's anything other than no, then that you're in. So the main thing is being able to practice finding ins, which is having a very low tolerance for the word no. Meaning every time you get a no or you get shut down in a direction, you got to open it back up, because if the prospect starts boxing you in, then you obviously start to choke. So anytime they put a wall up, you have to break each wall down, because that's what he's basically doing with Taylor. Is like, you can't do this and this. Well, that's actually the only way that I can do my job here today. So you're asking me to not do my job, right? That's basically what he's asking her to do, which then puts her at total effect to him, which is what antagonistic people do, is they put people at effect to them. Antagonistic people are people who, antagonism is like when someone's walking towards you, you have some kind of anger or upset towards them. So that's why leaning out with those guys helps, because if you literally lean out, you're not going towards them, but you're going away from them energetically, then you get them to lean in, and their antagonism goes away a little bit, because like you're not leaning in anymore energetically. But you got to actually like believe it. Like, hey man, like it's totally cool if it's not a fit. I'm just curious. Do you ever make a decision like on the first call, or like what's the rationale behind that? And then he's going to start explaining
tell you what he said.
Yeah.
When I asked that.
Mhm.
He basically was like, well, I was in the Marines. I'm a very informed buyer. I've always made very thought out black and white decisions, but I always want to make sure I cross all of the boxes. He's like, I have
How
two more
much
scheduled calls.
is he making in his business?
He's nothing right now because he just got done with surgery. He's rebuilding it.
Oh my God.
And so he said, I have two more calls, 2 tomorrow, and then after that I will be having all my notes. And he showed me all the notes, and he goes, and I'll be going over everything and making it up, or making my decision. and he was like, "You guys are the number one. I've given you the highest ranking." And I asked him why. And then he explained one other company that is in the ranking. And I said, what are the main differences that you see? He said it. And I said, okay, so you've already ranked it yourself. So we are the highest. So are you looking for something different in these next two calls that you're hoping to hear? And he said, no, but I think it's good to have more information. And I was like, okay, but it's your time that you're going through. You've already spent what, 12 hours on these 12 calls. Do you feel like you need more information?
So he doesn't care about his time. That's the thing.
He didn't, and he literally said
so
that.
you handled the wrong thing. His I guess logical fallacy is that more data equals a better decision, when what's actually true and factual is the right data equals a better decision. So I would just challenge it. Like, so if more data is going to help you make a better decision, why not just take endless sales calls? Why not just do that? Because that would mean that you would have the most informed decision possible on the planet Earth. And it sounds sarcastic, but I'm like, and I would tell him, it sounds sarcastic, but I'm actually asking you, like, I don't mean it to be sarcastic.
I asked him, I was like, there's infinite number of advertising and marketing agencies. So why not take 10 more? Why not keep going for another week, another month? Like, what makes the next two the last two? And he said, I had already scheduled this, and I like set all of the ones that I wanted to hear from. And he goes, even if they're not what I want, they might introduce another question that I don't know to ask right now that I can bring to you.
Okay. And okay, cool. So well, because like in business, you aren't rewarded for having the most data. You're rewarded for making the fastest and most accurate decision based on what limited data you ever have, because you're not always going to have all the data. So whenever you're making these decisions, do you think it makes more sense, like in your business, in growing your business, do you think it's going to serve you best to have as much data as possible with every decision? Or do you think it's going to serve you best to, I would actually tell the whole millionaire story, like the millionaires and billionaires, like the reason why they make so much more money is they just make significantly more decisions in a day. Like for every one decision you might make in a month, they make 100 in a day. So the reason why they move faster isn't that the majority of their decisions are correct, but it's that the enough of their decisions are correct where it outweighs the wrong decisions, and it was the speed of execution which actually led them to succeed. In the military, the only reason why data is more important than speed is because lives are at stake, and there's only one chance to get it right. You have infinite chances to get it right in your business. So it's not a comparable scenario to try and use military logic in civilian life, because growing a business is not like running the military. The military's job is to see how much stuff they can take and how many people they can kill. And unless that's your job in your business, to see how many people you can kill and how many of your own guys you cannot lose, then if that's not your goal, then using their logic doesn't really make sense, because it's a different goal. You change the logic based on the goal. People in business move fast and they win. People in business move slow and they lose. So from your perspective, Mr. Prospect, what do you think is actually the correct operating basis? Or what do you think what I just said? Do you agree with it at all? Do you think it's totally wrong and false? Like, what do you think? And I'll tell you. If someone's going to shop around and you can't, like, what I'm giving you right now is like, I could battle logic all day, right? That's not an issue. But it takes like lots of experience and training and enough times going through and finding what the illogical thing is to like spot it quickly, where the most likely thing that leads to the outcome that you want with the least amount of training is actually if you just make sure that you match every part of his criteria, because that's a variable you can control. You can suggest criteria until everything that he says he wants is what you have, And then when you pitch, you only pitch what he wants, which you pre-planned to be what you have.
Mhm.
You basically control the amount of moves and which moves are available on the chessboard. That's your most likely thing that you can apply almost every time. So when he does go shop around, when he comes back, then it's handleable. And then there's the other side, which is there's three sides. You handle the logic, you handle the actual what makes the decision, or you handle the belief. I wasn't on the call, so I don't know what the fundamental belief is, but I don't know. Maybe it's if I invest faster, then I'll make a mistake because more data is power or whatever his perspective is on it. So, but it sounds like you weren't being Mrs. Nice Guy about it. It just sounds like the thing that you did wasn't the correct thing. So how
Fair.
often on calls are you just not doing the correct thing, but you're doing it
More than-
courageously?
I think I'm doing that more than not.
Yeah. So what's the actual issue with being if we're only looking at Mrs. Nice Gal?
I think I've improved a lot on that since that brutally honest call review that you gave me. I
Yeah.
think that's helped a lot because I'm not trying to add fluff. Yeah. So I don't think it's. I'm sure it's still a problem in some ways, but I think that was a fair assessment of. I don't think it's my biggest problem anymore.
Great. So
I think it was just a misidentification. My bad.
yeah, which is usually.
On our training today.
Say that again.
I was saying we don't have any nice guys on our nice guy training.
Yeah. Well, Taylor and I are going to be drilling this specifically the issue with the angry people. So I'll tell you, the way that you handle the nice guy stuff is you know your shit. So you actually have to be an expert at what you're talking about. You don't technically have to be like perfect in logic or anything like that. You just have to have some tool that you use. It could be belief shifting. It could be perfecting logistics. It could be handling logic. Those three things are the things that I know. But you have to have some way to get in on the deal, and you don't stop. And when things get grindy, like I don't know, do you guys ever have it on calls where like it doesn't feel so good anymore? Like things were going good and then now they're not. Now the prospect's not connecting with you anymore and they're not like wanting to communicate so much. So that's some nice guy shit. What do you think you should ask whenever what do you think you should say or ask whenever that happens? Basically, Ibrahim, like a break in rapport. Like you guys are doing good and then something changes and you notice a shift in their energy where they don't want to communicate with you as freely anymore. So what do you think you should do? What's the correct action at that moment, Taylor?
Call it out. Hey, I noticed there was a shift in kind of the energy here. Was it something that I did, or what's going on in your mind right now?
Yeah, that's good. So how often do you do that compared to how often you should do it?
I've been doing it a lot more often.
Okay.
If I see the shift, and sometimes it really pushes them out the door, but I think they were already going that way in general.
But how does it push them out the door?
I don't necessarily know if it does. They just go out the door. They're already breaking rapport, you know?
Yeah, but it's your call, so you have to take responsibility for them breaking the rapport. Because if they're breaking the rapport, that means that they have a problem with you. You're either similar to someone that screwed them over, or they don't like sales calls, or they don't like women, or something. There's got to be something there to where they aren't willing to.
The recent examples of that had no rapport. That's how they showed up to the call.
So then you got to handle that.
Right.
Yeah. Do you ever get mad with them?
No, I just go into bitchy mode.
Yeah, very helpful. So How about
I go
what
in
if you're like,
for-
don't you just hate it whenever you like have to keep hopping on calls with people who want to sell you stuff that you're not sure you need? You don't trust them because you just think that they're all scammers. Don't you just fucking hate it whenever people are just scamming people out of their money and screwing them over with bad marketing? They're like, yeah, I fucking hate it. Tell me about it. Da 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 da. Yeah, dude, that fucking sucks. And then they're like, man, I like this guy. Right? You got to meet them where they're at. So you got to find some way to connect an in. You got to find an in.
That's why I need to do the training with you, because my instinct, my brain stops thinking and I just go into confrontation mode. And I think if there were a couple instances recently where I lost the call because I didn't put myself in their shoes, and I think a statement just like that would have saved it 100%. I just don't think about it until I'm a second off the call and I'm like, well, that instinct was not accurate.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy. That's handleable. That's some nice guy shit.
Is
So
it?
then,
Cool.
yeah, to you let fear come in. That's all that happens. Fear comes
Yeah.
in. You don't perceive. Fear is an inability to perceive. So you don't perceive correctly. And then, boom, guess what happens?
Lose the deal.
Yeah. So, or you don't do the correct thing,
Mm-hmm.
even if you know what the correct thing is. So, what do you think so far, Ibrahim? Has this been useful? Yeah.
I have struggled with that. There are some days where I feel really like outcome dependent. And like last week, I was in my head the entire time about the outcome and about what they were thinking. So, yeah, not as consistent as I'd like to be on that.
I focus on the outcome of the call and I close. So, I don't know if that's the problem. Because if you intend to close, you close. But instead,
I
you
think the
intend to get fearful.
difference I was going to say there's the intention to close, and then there's the fear of failing. Or the
Yeah, you
fear
start
of not
listening.
closing.
You start listening to the mind stuff and treating that as your advisor.
Right. It's full circle moment.
Yeah. That's the source of all the problems.
Yes.
So if you have a fear, do you have to listen to it?
No.
So when you're thinking in your head and a fear comes up that your mind serves you, what do you think you could like do to make it go away? Also, Harry, turn on your camera. I think this is Harinder Singh. That's my guess. He calls himself Harry sometimes. So what could you do next time?
Kind of make fun of the thought, kind of what you said, like bully the bully.
Okay. Could you do it on
or just-
purpose?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so scared. I'm going to lose this deal. It's so hard. Or you could say, bring it on. Go ahead. Fucking don't buy. I don't care. Looking ass. All right. Keep it simple. It's all the same tools that you already have access to.
Yeah.
And you just need to apply them. So next time you're fearful, just get really scared on purpose. It'll cancel it out. Or make fun of it. Fear, that's gay. Get away from me. That's not me. Ooh, that's a good one. That's not me. You could just say that. Fearful thought, that's not me. Doubtful thought, that's not me. Worried about the outcome, that's not me. Certain about the outcome, that's me. You just got to be yourself.